Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reuniting what Carrier refers to as the Gift Guide Bros for our third annual gift guide collaboration videos between Carrier, Eve, Sade, and myself. Here on my channel, we are going to be focused primarily on US-based watercolors. Eve will be taking on watercolor supplies available to or in Canada. Sade will be covering European watercolors, and Carrier will be a bit of a crossover between the different regions with some added coloring supplies as well. Be sure to check out their videos for more gift-giving ideas. This video is not sponsored, but products are linked in the description below, and those for Amazon, Jackson's, and DaVinci are all affiliate links which help to keep this channel going without costing you anything more during your holiday shopping. This list will be a brief overview on each of the supplies mentioned, but I do have full reviews and other content on most of the things listed here, which will also be linked in the description below if you have more information about a particular product. First off in my 25 and under category is the Core High Chroma Introductory Set. I believe I featured this set 2 years ago in our first round of videos, but it's back again because of how awesome it is. Core is an American brand from Golden, and they offer a variety of introductory sets. This one has always been my favorite because I feel like it highlights what Core does best: color and flow. Using a proprietary binder called Aquazol, these paints handle a little bit differently than a traditional gum arabic-based watercolor, but they can be used together in the same paintings. The set comes in a unique metal tin and contains 6 5ml tubes. I ran out of one of the tubes, so here pictured is one of my pans, but they do all come in the tubes. The colors included are Cobalt Teal made from PG50, Green Gold made from PY129, Quinacridone Gold made from PY150 and PO48, Transparent Pyro Orange made from PO71, Quinacridone Magenta PR122, and Dioxazine Purple PV23. I did accidentally pull Nickel Azo Yellow instead of Transparent Pyro Orange when filming, and I wasn't able to go back and fix it, unfortunately, but hopefully that doesn't cause too much confusion and we can only go up from here in the list. I did also want to mention that I have color spotlights on every color here except for the Quinacridone Gold. No, wait, actually I do have one on Quinacridone Gold, so I have a color spotlight on each of the colors here if you'd like to go and learn more about them. Next up, we have the Hanamule watercolor book paired with a Pentel Aquash water brush. It took me a long time to warm up to water brushes, but now I can't imagine traveling without them. They're incredibly portable, long-lasting, and make it so you don't have to carry around and dispose of extra paint water while you travel. I prefer the medium brush size, but they also come in fine and large tips too. I have a video all about water brushes if you want to learn more about them. Hanamule makes one of my favorite, if not my top favorite, cellulose watercolor sketchbook. I've grown quite accustomed to painting on cotton paper, so it's always a struggle to go back to cellulose, but this is pretty much as good as I've found so far for a sketchbook. The pages in the sketchbook are double-sided and the texture is reasonably consistent all the way throughout. It's smooth enough to handle ink while being textured enough to make my cold-pressed, loving heart rather content. They don't do well with excessive amounts of water and layers, but what cellulose paper really does. I filled 1 3/4 of these books and feel pretty confident recommending them to other artists. My final recommendation for the 25 and under category is actually rather open-ended, and that is prints of artwork from yours or your recipient's favorite artists. We all love getting art supplies for the holidays, and it can be difficult to pick out artwork for other people. But if you know a family member or friend well enough to know what artists or subjects that they enjoy, I'd highly recommend looking into supporting one of your favorite artists this holiday season. This is my little art wall in my studio of artwork from friends that I've met in artist alleys, here online, or maybe just other artists that I admire that I've collected over the years. It makes me super happy every time I look at it, and 5x7 to 8x10 size prints are usually under $25. Not only will it be a special gift for a loved one, but you'll also be supporting a small business owner along the way. A bit hand in hand with the last one, and just barely breaching into the mid-range gifts, I have my canvas zipper bags that I sell on my own Etsy shop. Some people just don't have the wall space for prints and need something a little bit more functional. The zipper bags that I sell are approximately 10 by 7 inches, made from a flexible canvas-like material, and are lined on the inside with a small inner pocket. They're big enough to fit an A5 sketchbook and a 24 half-pan standard watercolor tin with room to spare for pencils, brushes, and even a small rag. I've been selling these little bags for quite a while, but recently got in a new shipment with some newer artwork. They're currently up in my shop, and this might be the last order that I get and am able to list before the holidays. I do have one more shipment on its way, but it might not be here until the new year. I also have new prints and stickers for you to check out while you're over there. Domestic shipping, as a reminder, is always included on orders over $35, and this weekend through Cyber Monday, you can get 20% off all zipper bags and prints. No coupon needed. I can't guarantee that any international orders will arrive before the holidays at this point, but there is a coupon code in my shop's announcement page for international customers to get a little break on shipping as well. Next, we're going to get a little loose on what qualifies as a watercolor art supply, but it's one that my studio would be worse off without: a paper cutter. Watercolor paper is often more affordable when you can purchase it in larger quantities or sizes. With my physical limitations, it's hard for me to break down full sheets of watercolor paper, but I can hack down larger sheets of paper with the help of my handy dandy 15-inch paper cutter. This model is 12 inches across and can cut paper up to 15 inches wide. The reason I'd recommend getting the 15-inch one versus a smaller 12-inch square paper cutter is that the common watercolor blocks and pads, like those from Arches, are just over 12 inches on their wide side and just barely too wide enough to fit long ways into the cutter. The bigger one is a little bit bulkier, but worth it in my opinion to trim down those larger sheets into more manageable sizes without needing a self-healing mat, a metal ruler, an X-Acto or box knife, or functional shoulders. The final item in my mid-range gifts is a palette that I just announced on Tuesday, so I won't spend too much time talking about it here. It's my new Wildlife Da Vinci watercolor palette. This new travel set is geared towards artists that paint animals and other naturally colored subjects. More information can be found in my last video that I released on Tuesday, and you can purchase them directly on Da Vinci's website. Next up is our category for gifts over $75, and this one is kind of cheating, kind of doesn't, depend on how you want to look at it or modify the quantities involved. Paint, of course, is one of the more exciting art supplies to buy or receive because look, pretty colors. But I've said time and time again that good watercolor paper is by far the most important supply that you can spend your money on. To dress up this gift a little bit, I suggest getting 2 or 3 different blocks, brands, and or finishes so that your recipient can try out a variety of new painting surfaces. My 3 favorites at the moment are Arches 140-pound cold press, Hanamule Cezanne, which is also 140-pound cold press, and Blick Premier's 140-pound hot press paper. I'd also recommend pairing the paper with some brushes. When it comes to brushes, fewer of higher quality is better than a lot of inexpensive ones. My absolute favorite brushes that I've been painting with almost exclusively for over a year are Silver's Black Velvet line. And I've never worked with them or spoken to them about their products, so there's absolutely zero brand bias here. I just truly love their product. These brushes are very soft and may not be as easy for a beginner to use, but boy howdy are they nice once you get to rein them in. If you want to learn more about paper and brush choices, I have videos here on YouTube as well as an entire class on water control over on Skillshare that I talk about this more in depth. The next item on my list came out earlier this year and was the predecessor to the wildlife palette I already mentioned, and that is my earth-friendly Da Vinci watercolor palette. Made by a small family-owned and operated company in Southern California, Da Vinci watercolors in general are a very affordable brand for those of us who live in the US. This particular set was designed by yours truly to be vegan and non-toxic, avoiding all heavy metal pigments. This week, Da Vinci also released the new Fill and Paint pan set version of this palette, which comes with 24 8ml tubes instead of the pre-poured half pans. Both options are available over on Da Vinci's website, and the link, of course, is in the description below. You may have been wondering where my Daniel Smith recommendation was on this list, so we've finally come to it. Daniel Smith finally released pan sets earlier this year, but they fell a little bit flat of expectations for those of us who were expecting the very best. For that reason, I cannot really recommend that you spend your hard-earned dollars on them unless you really want to. However, I do think that a custom set of Daniel Smith paints would be an extremely well-received gift by just about any watercolorist that I know. Of course, given that they don't sell a ton of curated sets means that you'll have to do a little extra legwork for yourself, but for me, that's the fun part anyway. The footage here in the video is just a hodgepodge of a set I pulled together with the tubes that I had on hand, but I do have 2 other videos here on YouTube that focus specifically on 12 color Daniel Smith recommendations, and I also have a class on Skillshare that teaches you how to build your own custom palette and what to look for in your choices. This gift idea is one that I think you would have a ton of fun with if you're willing to put little time and money into it. Finally, we always include one completely over-the-top gift idea for you big spenders out there that the rest of us can just drool over and look at the pretties. Schminke is kind of the king when it comes to specialty gift sets in the world of watercolor. Last year I had a very moderate approach to this all-out gift, including paper, paints, and brushes all in one, but this year I decided, screw it, let's just pick the biggest pretty we can find. And boy, did I find one, or two. Now, because I don't own these big old box sets, I just have some footage of the paints that I do have and the screenshots of bigger sets, and because I don't own them, I can't attest to the construction of the boxes, etc., but like you, I'm admiring from afar, and I'm sure that they're going to be standout gifts based on the quality that I've seen from Schminke before. The first item that caught my eye is a 40 full pan wood box set with a porcelain palette. Ideally, these would be for the artists that you know who use larger brushes, or those of you who just, use smaller brushes but want a lifetime supply of paint. However, I did see a little bit late in the planning process that this set is actually only available for pre-order right now in the UK. So I had to pick out another item for my US viewers, and I'm sorry to say that the price only went up from here. What I found was a 3-tiered box set with 80 half pans and a porcelain palette. This might not be the most comfortable or convenient way to paint, but it's a showstopper. Anyway, that'll do it for this year's holiday gift guide, and I hope that you have enjoyed seeing some of my picks and that they get some of those creative juices flowing for your own gift ideas. Don't forget to check out your favorite artist shops to see what their offerings are this time of year, and be sure to check out my 20% off sale this weekend on prints and zipper bags over on Etsy before Monday. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, commenting, and subscribing, and mega thanks to my patrons, as always, for their wonderful support. I hope you all had an amazing start to your holiday season, and until next time, happy painting and gift giving.